In the headlines, court grants DSS leave to detain NNPP supporters in Kano over alleged inciting statements. Yaga Africa expresses fear of possible violence during governorship election. National Population Commission explains digital census, optimistic of headcount in May. And finally, Cyclone Freddy, death toll surpasses 300 as Mozambique counts bodies. Welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. Operatives of the Department of State Services have arrested two of supporters of the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, for allegedly inciting violence in Kano State. The secret police have also deployed its crack detectives to other parts of the state and the country to track down any politician with the mindset of inciting violence ahead of the March 18 governorship and state assembly elections. DSS spokesperson Peter Afunaya said that the duo of Sharu Tabula and Ismail Mangu were tracked down after the suspect had separately recorded inciting messages which they shared through various social media channels. Afunaya shared the inciting video saying that while the service alerts the public of this planned illegal action, it calls on the concerned party to shelve it forthwith or be ready to face the consequences. He warned against plans to organize protest march in the metropolis as well as storm offices of some of the security agencies in solidarity for the suspect. Meanwhile, the New Nigeria People's Party in Kano has alleged that its main opponent in the Saturday election is not the ruling All Progressives Congress, but the Department of State Services. The party alleged that the service was working in cohort with the ruling party to subvert the will of the people, but it will not allow this to prevail. Speaking on behalf of the party, Baffa Bichi, a senatorial candidate of the party, said that the party will embark on a peaceful march across the city to protest against what they termed an illegal retaining of the Kano State Director of DSS, who he alleged was due for retirement 15 months ago. He said that the protest became the last resort for the party because it has on good authority that the DSS boss was kept in office to assist the ruling APC in the forthcoming elections. Now, Trust TV's Idris Jibrin in Kano gives us an update on that story.
Actually, what happened earlier today, the Kano State Magistrate Court number 58 issued an order directing the DSS to continue detaining some of the supporters of the New Nigeria People's Party who were earlier arrested on allegation of political thuggery. Initially, the New Nigeria People's Party accused the NNPP, accused the Department of the State Security Service, that is the DSS, of working with the opposition opposition All Progressive Congress. But later on, and sought that the DSS should release all its supporters that were arrested earlier by the DSS and the police, of course. Then the DSS went to court and obtained an order to allow it to continue investigating those supporters of the New Nigeria People's Party. The New Nigeria People's Party called the DSS to release its members on the grounds that those people are only political supporters who were carrying out political campaigns alongside with other party supporters of the New Nigeria People's Party across the state. But the DSS argued that no, those people are involved in kind of political clashes and vandalism within the state capital during their campaigns, and they were arrested in various campaign rallies across the state. And this is the position right now in Kano. What the NNPP will do is still not clear because it's too early to say this is what the line of action that the NNPP will do. But the court has already made a final decision that those people should continue to be investigated at the moment.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party and its supporters in Wase local government area of Plateau State on Tuesday staged a peaceful demonstration to the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in the local government area to register their anger over collation of election results at the secretariats of the local government. According to the PDP, since the local government secretariat is controlled by the APC, election results could be manipulated in favor of the ruling APC and therefore called for the relocation of the collation center. Ado Musa completes the story.
These are members of the PDP in Wase local government area, adorned in black attire, protesting against INEC's refusal to collect election results at the commission's office in the area. The Wase PDP chairman, Saleh Hamman, who led the demonstration, alleged that election results at the local government secretariat of Wase, where coalition was always done, are usually manipulated to favor the ruling party that controls the council. The chairman, while submitting their petition, accused INEC of failing to fulfill its promise to collect results of the presidential and National Assembly elections at the commission's office in Wase instead of the council secretariat.
The word protest is harder than the word demonstration. We are peace-loving people. We, the PDP in Wase, are law-abiding. We know what is right for our people. We came here purposely to lodge this complaint because of the importance attached to the complaint. The major problem we are facing here in the electoral process in Wase local government is the fact that collection of results were always being carried out at the local government secretariat. And that local government secretariat had so far been turned into APC office, where the APC have access into it anytime. They will use the security to block our people from going in, while their own people will be there. That was what happened during the 25th presidential and National Assembly election.
The chairman therefore insisted that the collation of the March 18 governorship and state assemblies poll be carried out at INEC office rather than the local government secretariat.
Knows what they are doing. All we want is the collection of results should be carried out here in the INEC office because we have confidence in the INEC office than any other place. The local government is the house for everybody. The INEC office here is where the electoral processes can be carried out without any hitches.
Responding on behalf of the commission, the INEC Assistant Electoral Officer in Wase, Samson Laguna, commended the peaceful manner of the demonstration and assured that the matter will be referred to the appropriate quarters for consideration.
This is a rare occurrence. It's something that you do not just see happen, in places, like this. I wish to commend you people for the peaceful conduct and the manner in which the presentation of your complaint is made. I can assure you that on behalf of the EO, INEC was a local government, that the complaint that you have presented will definitely get to the appropriate quarters.
Thank you very much.
And it will be looked into.
The PDP members who besieged the INEC office asked the commission to stick to its earlier promise to collect election results at the office. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Former Vice President and PDP presidential candidate in the February 25 election, Atiku Abubakar, has charged supporters not to be discouraged by the outcome of the presidential election, but come out en masse to give Governor Ahmadu Fintiri a second term through their vote. Atiku gave the charge while speaking to journalists shortly after arriving Yola ahead of the Saturday, March 18 governorship election. Salis Lawan reports.
Atiku, who arrived Yola Wednesday afternoon, was received by the Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Umaru in company of top PDP stalwarts in the state. He tells journalists why people need to come out and vote on Saturday.
No, first and foremost, I would like to thank our supporters all over the country. But in particular, since I'm in Adamawa today, I would like to use this opportunity to sincerely thank the people of Adamawa for giving us an overwhelming support. Now, having said that, if I'm not discouraged, they should take a cue from me and make sure that they also remain, resilient, strong, and committed, to the victory of the next gubernatorial and state assembly polls.
The former vice president also explains why Adamawa Governor Ahmadu Fintri deserves a second term.
Obviously, if there is any governor that deserves a second term, it should be Governor Ahmadu Fintri. I have worked with governors from 1999 up to this point in time. I can tell you, not because he's here, I'm not afraid of him. Nobody, no governor has impacted on the lives of the people of this state better than Ahmadu Fintri. Take the various sectors. Take the social sector, take the educational sector, take the healthcare sector, and then look at the infrastructure, both urban and rural. Also look at the security situation in the state. So I think he deserves a second term so that he can continue to do the good work he has been doing.
Atiku charges citizens not to allow what he calls the poor performance of INEC in the presidential elections discourage them from voting.
Yesterday, I made a national broadcast to all Nigerians and especially PDP supporters that they should not be discouraged with the extremely poor performance of INEC in the last election. It should rather be a challenge to Nigerians to strengthen, our democratic process and make sure that our democratic process is not undermined by the inefficiency and corruption, of INEC.
Citizens are hopeful that the Saturday 18 governorship and state assemblies elections will be a true reflection of the people's will. Silas Lewan, Trust TV News, Yola.
One of Nigeria's election monitoring group, Yaga Africa, fears that low voter turnout, inducement and possible violence could undermine the Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections in most states of the Federation. The election monitoring group will deploy what it calls parallel results tabulation technology in Benue, Delta and Kano. The group also tasked the Independent National Electoral Commission to address challenges observed during the last presidential election with a view to building electoral confidence. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Nigerians will again go to the polls on Saturday to elect governors and State House of Assembly members in the concluding part of the 2023 election cycle. Preliminary findings by Yaga Africa highlights possible voter inducement, threats to security, rising ethnic and religious tension, and possible low voter turnout because of declining confidence amongst voters and lingering cash scarcity-induced hardship.
Yaga Africa received reports of the distribution of money and food items by supporters of the APC in Bakia and Chogul, Tarka, LGA, Benue State. The APC and the PDP representatives were seen collecting voters' bank account details in Damaturu and Potiskum LGAs in Yobe State to make wire transfers ahead of the elections. From Akwa Ibom, Yaga Africa also received reports that the PDP youths in Ibeno local government area were given a cash inducement of 1,000 naira, 1 million naira after they had endorsed a candidate on Sunday, March 12, 2023.
As it sets to deploy parallel result tabulation technology in Benue, Delta and Kano states to track voting, the Election Observer Group is also worried over arms buildup in some volatile states.
Light weapons, and we did identify the number of local governments where our reporters have filed in report that light weapons are already in circulation. So we don't have to tell you what that means. But our statement is very clear around those. And there are other states that we have also identified.
The group recommended that INEC must improve on the identified lapses in the last presidential election and ensure proper and timely communication with stakeholders with a view to building citizens' confidence in the electoral process. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
National Population Commission says its digital housing and population census built to be conducted later in May this year will be error-free. The Commission's Director of Public Affairs, Dr. Isiaka Yahaya, says that the Commission is doing everything technologically possible to make the 2023 digital census meet the best international standards. Noel Samson reports.
Population census was initially planned to hold in March, but postponement of election left government no option than to shift the dates to May this year. Information and data obtained from census assists the government to plan for its citizens, hence reasons why it has to be error-free. Isiaka Yahaya is Director of Public Affairs of the National Population Commission, and he explains why the exercise must be error-free.
We are going to conduct a digital census, like you have rightly observed. What that means is that we are going to limit human interference in the census process. The data will be collected using what we call the personal digital assistant, in which responses from respondents will be captured automatically into the tablet and will be transmitted for processing to the server, and then further analysis and evaluation. And the way it is done is that, the sources of error in census are manifold. It can be undercounting, overcounting, and enumeration, double or multiple enumeration. The methodology we are going to adopt, will make it possible to eliminate all these sources of errors.
He also explained technologies deployed by the Commission to make the first digital census in Nigeria.
We have divided the whole landmass of Nigeria into enumeration areas that can be covered by a pair of enumerators. And also, the EAD, or what we call the enumeration area, has been done in such a way that every building, has been captured. So on the census day, the question that will be asked is that if any house is not counted, it must be accounted for. So it will be possible in the tablet with the enumerators, all the houses have been listed and they must ensure that they go to all those. That also means that they cannot go to one household twice.
The last official population census in Nigeria was conducted in 2006, and since then, successive administration could not conduct another exercise, recommended after 10 years. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at why some Nigerians are unemployable despite being educated. Details of this and more after the break. Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
For Libya, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at some of the top stories again. Court grants DSS leave to detain NNPP supporters in Kano over alleged inciting statements. Yaga Africa expresses fear of possible violence during governorship election. Women's aspiration to occupy political offices fell short of expectations after the 2023 presidential and National Assembly election. Involvement and participation of women in Benue State is described as discouraging. Jimmy Azande reports that the 35 affirmative action meant to encourage women participation has not been met in the state. The report.
Women have been advocating for equal political rights in a male-dominated political environment like Nigeria. However, the number of women in elective positions went down after the presidential and National Assembly elections in spite of the sustained advocacy over the years.
We're still far behind the 35% affirmative action that we expect. We're far behind. I'm not very sure we can boldly say we've reached 10%. Usually, what makes us feel we're doing well is when it comes to appointive positions. Sometimes they just give some women some appointments and we think that balances it out. No, I don't think it does. For me, women are not doing very well when it comes to elective positions. I think there's still much to be done. I think political parties need to seriously look into the issues of bringing women on board. I think as a society in Benue State, we still also need to encourage more women to come out and, participate.
Some said the men will have to do some more at encouraging the women to participate in the electoral process. To this group, women's participation is still hampered by cultural impediments.
So far, from the results we have gathered in these 2023 elections, especially as regards the National Assembly elections, we haven't really seen much women elected into those offices yet. Culturally, people are not really giving opportunity to women to participate yet. People still see women as not really culturally strong enough to participate in politics. So they are not given the opportunity by the majority of the society, even women themselves.
They mentioned some of the benefits of women involvement in the political process in the country.
If you look at homes, there are very good home managers. And for that, a lot of women that have excelled, you discover that they do well. And it is high time that we start giving that opportunity to them so that our country will become better. We have tried enough men and it has not helped us. So at least we need to give that chance, that opportunity.
Only 2 women won out of the 14 seats of the National Assembly from Benue State.
Available statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics state that Nigeria has an unemployment rate of 33%, an underemployment rate of 22.8%, and a youth unemployment rate of 42.5%. Nigeria's unemployment figures are a source of worry for the nation's economy. Chamung Dabeng examines factors responsible for this.
After graduation, many Nigerians find themselves unemployed for several years. Jobs in public service are not only scarce, but unavailable. The private sector is grappling with its challenges, often leaving skilled young Nigerians without employment. Nigerians share their perspective on the issue as well as their personal experience in finding adequate employment.
I want to believe that some of us at the country we contributed to this situation. Why do I say so? Somebody that went through university, he or she must have learned 1 or 2 things that can make him or her to be on his or her own to a level. And those knowledge they acquired, I discovered that some of us have refused to work with those knowledge we have acquired. I empowered myself, and through that I got married, and as God will have it, 6 months after my marriage, I have a job of 16,000 naira.
I'm a civil servant. I'm currently employed. I've been in the civil service for quite a time now, like 9 years. But before then, I was unemployed for like 6 years after graduation. But then, it's fine. Okay.
I think the problem lies with the government, because so many of our youths are talented. You see people coming out with good grades from school, yet unable to find jobs.
According to a report carried out in 2022 by Jobberman, Nigeria's active population ages 15 to 64 sat around 122 million, 70 million of which belong to the labor force. However, out of this figure, only 3 million have formal employment. With such a high rate, many have debated where the blame lies. Are Nigerians unemployable, or are there simply not enough jobs to cater for Nigeria's growing population?
Well, in between those figures is what you call unemployability. Okay? It is one thing for you to have education. It's another thing for you to be employable. Okay, employability is where I think the major challenge is. And if even those who are unemployed are either underemployed or inadequately engaged. The school system is at fault, because what we got very fixated, early on with formal education. And when every other well-thinking, well-meaning, forward-looking nation started going the way of skills education. We were still, fixated towards paper qualification.
Issues such as undereducation as well as Nigeria's illiteracy rate, which is estimated to be at 31%, has only exacerbated the issue of unemployability. Many experts have attributed Nigeria's high insecurity levels as well as other criminal activity in the country to unemployment. Many are calling out to the government to not only improve the education system, but also empower Nigerians with the skills and the tools to create work for themselves. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now on the foreign scene, the death toll from Tropical Cyclone Freddy has passed 300 people, with authorities in Mozambique taking several days to assess the extent of damage and loss of lives. The storm tore through southern Africa over the weekend for a second time after first making landfall in late February. It is one of the long-lasting tropical cyclones ever recorded and one of the deadliest in Africa in recent years. At least 53 people have died in Mozambique's Zambezi province, authorities said late on Wednesday, more than doubling their previous count. The toll is expected to continue to rise, said UN Children's Agency UNICEF. Malawi has reported 225 deaths so far, with hundreds more injured and some still missing. And in sports news, Gianni Infantino has been re-elected as president of FIFA until 2027 after standing unopposed at the Congress of World Football's governing body on Thursday. The 52-year-old Swiss lawyer who succeeded the disgraced Sepp Blatter in 2016 was waved in for a third term by acclamation, just as he was 4 years ago, by delegates from the 211 member federations. While FIFA statutes currently limit a president to a maximum of 3 4-year terms, Infantino has already prepared the ground to stay until 2031, declaring in December that his first 3 years at the helm did not count as a full term. And that's it for the news update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.